Hello everyone, today I'm going to be making a highly requested video recipe which is 100% whole wheat bread. For this recipe I'm going to be using about 6 to 7 cups of whole wheat flour, but I'm going to start by measuring out 6 cups of the flour inside a large bowl, and this is because I don't want to end up with a hard dough. So I'm going to be setting aside 1 extra cup of flour, which I'm going to use during the kneading process until I get my desired texture. To this, I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of salt, half of a cup of honey, about 6 tablespoons of olive oil, yeast, some milk and water, and you can just use plain water and leave out the milk if you choose to. And finally, I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I'll be mixing this together until a soft dough is formed. Now, the reason why I added the lemon juice is just to enhance the texture of the bread, because wheat flour is known to be quite dense. So when lemon juice or vinegar, if you choose, is added, it gives a very soft and light crumbs. At this point, I'm going to be using my hand to mix the dough for a little bit more, just to make sure all the ingredients are well combined. I'm not going to be kneading this dough right away. I'm going to cover it and leave it to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and this will allow the wheat flour to absorb the water and soften the grains of the wheat, and you will be able to knead the dough with a little more ease. At this point, I'm going to be transferring the dough onto a floured work surface, and I'm going to be using the set aside cup of wheat flour to knead the dough until it becomes smooth. And this should take about 5 to 10 minutes on the average. Once the dough is well kneaded, it should spring back up immediately when you use your finger to make a depression on it. Now it's time to proof the dough, and I'm going to be putting about 2 tablespoons of oil in this bowl. Then I'm going to be coating the entire dough with the oil to prevent the dough from drying out. And I'll be covering this with a plastic wrap, and I'm going to leave it to rise until it's doubled or tripled in size. And this will take about an hour or thereabouts, depending on the temperature of your room. Now the dough is well risen, and I'll just punch it down to remove the excess hair. Then I'll transfer it back to the work surface. And you can sprinkle more flour on your work surface if the dough is sticking. Ideally, this dough should make 2 big loaves, but if you are really familiar with my bread recipes, you will notice I like smaller loaves. So I'm going to be dividing this into 3 instead of 2. And I'll shape it into a loaf which will fit exactly the size of my pan. Once that is done, I'm going to be greasing the pan with some oil. And I will also dust it with a little bit of flour. Then I'll gently place the shaped loaf inside the pan. I'll now cover this with a plastic wrap and leave it to rise again one more time for about 30 minutes or till it's doubled in size. Now it's time to take this bread to the oven, but before I do, in case you are wondering how to put oatmeal or any other choice of grains or nuts on your wheat bread, I usually don't do this with my own bread. but all you have to do is just to spray some water on top of the dough and sprinkle whatever grains or nuts you choose on top of it. And that is it about that. At this point, I'm going to be taking this to a 350 degrees preheated oven, and I'll be baking it for about 40 to 50 minutes or till a toothpick inserted in the middle of the bread comes out clean. And this is the end result: a soft and light crumb 100% whole wheat bread. I do hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I'm going to be happy to hear back from you if you give it a try. Thank you all for joining me again today. Until next time, I'll talk to you shortly. Enjoy.